Hey guys, what's up? Excoundrel here, and today we are going to be looking at Silvernail, the newest hero coming to Vainglory. Well, I guess he's already here. This is the hardest guide I've had to do as of recent times because Silvernail is very versatile. He can be played weapon power, CP, and even realistically can be played captain, although wouldn't recommend it over other captains, but if you get lumped playing Silvernail captain, don't fret, he's genuinely quite viable. Let's have a look at his abilities then, starting with his heroic perk Double Shot. Every few seconds, Silvernail will reload his crossbow with 2 bolts, and you then essentially get 2 basic attacks for the price of 1. This reload time goes down with attack speed, a little bit like Gwen's heroic perk as well. Functions in a similar way. The next basic attack, the double, gives you slightly less than your normal basic attack damage. It's 60% of your overall damage, but it's a really good burst tool, especially with critical strike and especially in the laning phase. His A ability is Stake. Silvernail can plant a small stake in the ground which has an area of effect around it. If you land another stake in that area, it will form a tripwire. Enemies that move through the tripwire are slowed, silenced, and take damage. Now, he can have 3 stakes on the map at any time. These stakes will only disappear if he replaces them with another stake or activates them by creating a tripwire. Careful planning can make this one of the most powerful abilities in Vainglory. It's very, very good for kiting back in teamfights and very good for trading in small skirmishes. His B ability is Caustic Blessing. He essentially lobs a poisonous flask, and it burns the enemies as well as dealing damage and revealing them. It's a really good ability. It refreshes Double Shot, which means you get an extra bit of burst damage off from your heroic perk. The ideal combo is Double Shot, Caustic Blessing, Double Shot, and also it has CP and weapon power scalings, making it a very powerful poke tool in both of his build paths. His ultimate is Rebuke. The most important part for his weapon power build path is it increases the double shot damage. So overdriving it will give you a 100% normal basic attack on his double shot. So you get a 2-for-1 literal basic attack. Otherwise, it's like Vayne's Condemn from League of Legends. He shoots people in a line, and if they collide with his tripwire, with a structure, or with a wall, they will be stunned. Let's have a look at the way that you level him then. For his weapon power build path, I max his B first and then I max Rebuke. I don't think there's any other way that you can build his weapon power build path. You want to get the maximum damage out of your double shot with the Rebuke passive, and Caustic Blessing is just the best thing for refreshing his double shot, and it scales with weapon power. So this is the only way that you can build his weapon power build path. CP has a bit more variance, but you would definitely max Caustic Blessing first. That is because it is your poke tool, it increases range at level 5, and overall is the most damage that you're going to deal. Then you have a bit of a debate to make. I personally max Stake because I like the cooldown lowering, I like the fact that the damage obviously increases the damage over time, and it's the one that scales the best in terms of overall teamfight presence, in my opinion, with CP. But you can max Rebuke as well. It's up to you, personal playstyle. Captain, I always max Stake first, and then it's up to you whether you want to max B or C, depending whether you want to peel for carries or just be a bit more aggressive. Let's have a look at his build paths. So, I had a lot of thought into this. I think you can go Sorrow Blade Breaking Point for weapon power, but because of the low mobility and how easy he is to kill, I think the Serpent's Mask is needed to help him hold his ground in teamfights. And then, after these 2 items, Serpent's Mask Breaking Point, I could go Spell Sword to give my Caustic Blessing a lower cooldown, get double shot off more quickly, or I can go Critical Strike. I personally prefer Critical Strike. I like Tyrant's Monocle or Tornado Trigger. Both of them are very good. CP, I think you have to go Aftershock or Alternating Current. I think you need to make use of his basic attack if you're playing CP, because you wouldn't pick him over something like a Scarf or Celeste because his scalings just aren't good enough. So I think with the Alternating Current, you guarantee yourself an Alternating Current proc on double shot, so it's a pretty good item there, but you have a low cooldown on your Caustic Blessing and can proc Aftershock really quickly by using A and B as well. And then I like to go Dragon's Eye, Clockwork, and Broken Myth, pretty standard after that. It's personal preference. Captain, you can't go Capacitor Plate. Rook's Decree, I think, is the best new item for him. I think that works really nicely with his kit and gives a shield to his team. You really want to get some cooldown reduction in there to make sure that you can use your ultimate as often as possible, and also, obviously, trying to get those stakes on board as much as you can. So I'm going to show you a small gameplay video of me playing him as weapon power. It's not going to be the whole game, otherwise the video would be too long. But we did make some cool plays in this video, and you can see every time I use Caustic Blessing, I'm looking to search for a basic attack or a double basic attack on Kensei. This Kensei kind of knows what's going on though, so he's always monitoring if I've got my basic attack up and is moving away from me. He knows that he does not want to get double shot, and so obviously it's going to be very difficult. For someone that definitely understands what's going on, landing those double shots will be fairly hard. So what I do with Kensei is I double shot him and then I Caustic Blessing and double shot him whenever I get the chance. I want to make sure I'm abusing that range. He actually engages on me here just as I set up a stake. So I'm going to set up this stake, and look what I'm doing. I'm kiting around this stake, making it very difficult for Kensei to move on to me because he gets silenced, and Kensei is a very ability heavy weapon power carry. So you set up that stake and then you sit on it. You sit on that tripwire and you wait for the enemy to come to you. Kensei knew that he couldn't fight me. I landed a Caustic Blessing which gave me some damage over time and reset my double shot, and he just got immediately chunked. Silvernail's got a really good early game, especially in the laning phase. He's such a lane bully and very, very difficult to deal with. And overall, I think he'll be considered very popular in terms of weapon power carries in the bot lane, simply because it's very difficult to trade against him. He's actually going to be someone that can deal with Saw pretty well, because if you just Caustic Blessing or double shot, Caustic Blessing, double shot, and get out of the range of Saw when he's slowed down, you probably out-trade Saw in the most part in those engages. We're going to cut a little bit further now. I've got my Serpent's Mask and I'm very close to having my breaking point online. I've harassed the Kensei, as you can see. The Sky turns up behind me. Immediately, I rebuke her into the wall, get a double shot off with Caustic Blessing, and then try and use my boots. I dodge the Kensei ultimate, and you can see here, I've actually won this 2 versus 1, and with a quick Caustic double shot, I take out the Sky very quickly, and the Kensei, should he have returned, would have died too. He's a really strong hero in the right scenarios. I didn't even have to use my tripwire there because there wasn't really much time to set up. But a lot of it just comes down to making sure that you can CC the enemies and make it difficult for them to position around your abilities. At this stage in the game, I am feeling pretty comfortable. I've managed to hold my turret. I've got a 4-kill lead. I'm also going to take that first turret in the bot lane as well. I kind of want to get some defense online though, and it's really important to talk about this with Silvernail. He is a very immobile carry. He needs to have defense. Ideally, he should have a reflex block and slumbering husk. It's very difficult otherwise. You can see here, I actually trade against the Kensei with my Caustic Blessing, and I actually, with my Serpent's Mask, managed to pick up the kill because I sustained enough, which is again why I think Serpent's Mask is important. I then also get the healing from the Treant. I tried to go for the kill into Sky here. I do land the Caustic Blessing and the double shot, but unfortunately my rebuke doesn't quite hit the wall, and this is a Grace with a little bit of damage, so she just slams me into the floor, which is a bit of a feels bad man. But you can see there, he's actually pretty good at kiting, and his double shot gives him a good burst of lifesteal from the Serpent's Mask. He's also pretty solid at stacking breaking point because of his double shot. Absolutely because of his double shot. It gives you that extra little burst of damage, which can give you a couple of breaking point stacks where other weapon power carries wouldn't get that. So with Silvernail, there are, again, like I said in the build path areas, lots of different ways you can play him weapon power. In this game I'm going for a Tyrant's Monocle because I think that the burst damage versus things like a Scarf and a Sky and a Vox is all going to be very applicable. But I think against people that I'd need to kite versus, I'd probably want a Tornado Trigger. If I was more focused on just using my abilities, trying to use Tripwire more often, trying to use or Stake more often, trying to use my Caustic Blessing more often, I'd go for the Spell Sword. So in this instance here, I want to show exactly what I mean about using the tripwire to try and kite around. Now, tripwire will block dashes, so I could have used it if I set it up correctly to stop the Kensei dash, but what I end up doing is just using it to make sure that he can't dash through with his A to me as I go the other side of it, and also he's silenced well on top of it. And with the Adagio here, I actually managed to survive. So it's really good at dealing with people who dive on top of you and then don't have the damage to follow up if they can't use their abilities. That's why I really like Silvernail. The problems with Silvernail is going to be people that are high mobility that don't require abilities to kill you. People like a Weapon Power Sky, Vox, they can just kind of run around you. They can run through the tripwire and then just dash onto you again with Suri Strike or their Sonic Zooms. He will also really suck versus hard CC. If you can't reflex block it, he will suck versus hard CC because he's got no mobility. He also sucks versus really long range mages like Celeste and Scarf. So there's very specific circumstances where Silvernail is good. His CP variant is a bit more easy to use because all you need to do is just throw your B all over the place. His weapon power variant is kind of vulnerable though in a lot of circumstances, and I don't think he's going to be better than someone like Vox because he's just so hard to make work and quite easy to counter by a lot of the popular picks right now. However, what he is really good at doing is counter-engaging and disengaging with his tripwire. It makes it very hard for the enemy to all-in you, so he's very good versus dive compositions. You say they've got a Fortress, they've got Attacker, they've got a Kensei. He's very, very good at stopping dives with his tripwire, and that's kind of his niche. You can see here, just stunned the Kensei as soon as he jumped in, looking to get those double shots off, and we basically end up cleaning up this team fight. I got loads of breaking point stacks, by the way, 17 in a matter of 4 or 5 seconds, which is pretty incredible, and that's because of the double shot. So if he can hold his ground and he's got the protection, he'll be really good with people like Arden, with like Adagio and Lyra. He's super good with protectors like that, because if he can hold his ground, he is so strong at building breaking point stacks and deals a lot of damage. So he will work in specific compositions, but he is quite easy to counter and has very specific circumstances where he's really good. But overall, I love him. I think he's awesome. I think because of the versatility of his weapon power and his CP build path, it's just so cool to play him. And I hope you guys really enjoy playing him as well. I think he's a fantastic carry. And I think when eventually he unlocks for Glory, which is in 2 weeks, I think, you guys will have fun playing him. See you soon.